on the news at 5. Multiple agencies capture and relocate a black bear within Helena city limits. Plus,
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. Outside spending in the Montana governor's race is approaching $20 million. Coming up, I'll have the details.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Jessica Nelson. Thank you for joining us. Governor Steve Bullock was joined by state health experts this morning to address the increase of daily COVID-19 cases. Montana reported more than 270 new cases in 2 out of the last 4 days and has seen a sizable increase in average daily COVID cases since July. The state has attributed a lot of the recent cases to congregate settings like schools, jails, and nursing homes. The state also cites Labor Day activities and social distancing fatigue as significant contributing factors for many cases. State Medical Officer Dr. Greg Holzman said the increase in numbers is a troubling trend that will only bring more suffering to Montana families unless more people begin following COVID guidelines like wearing a mask and limiting social gatherings.
When disease rates rise, we see more suffering, we see more death. We see schools that have to close down, not necessarily because of a health mandate, because we don't have teachers to teach or students to learn. We can see businesses suffer as people are concerned about going out and acquiring the virus.
The White House recently released a memorandum encouraging states to fine individuals not following mask guidelines in high COVID positive areas. Bullock says he will not be implementing an action like that, saying ultimately a fine won't stop the virus. Only the collective actions of Montanans will have an impact. Well, more than 75% of residents at Whitefish Care and Rehab have tested positive for COVID-19 since late August, with COVID-19 related deaths at the facility reaching double digits. MTN's Sean Wells tells us about discrepancies at the facility cited by the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, highlighting where things went wrong.
Weeks after a COVID-19 outbreak started here at Whitefish Care and Rehab, the Montana Department of Health issued a plan of correction that must be implemented immediately. The COVID-19 focused control survey at the facility was conducted by Montana Department of Health officials on August 31st and September 1st. Findings showed staff members were rooming presumptive COVID-19 positive residents with COVID-19 negative residents, staff entering COVID-19 positive resident rooms without proper PPE, and staff not attempting to assist with maintaining social distancing for all residents. On August 31st, Department of Health officials interviewed a staff member who could not remember the last time she had any PPE training, hand hygiene training, or training related to COVID-19. I think maybe I had training on hand hygiene 5 to 6 months ago, the staff member said. I don't know. I am so tired I can't even think. We are all working off no energy. On August 31st, a staff member was observed entering a room without donning gloves and a gown removing a food tray. No hand hygiene was performed after leaving the resident's room. I don't know who was on precautions, honestly, the staff member said. I never wear PPE when I go into a resident's room because I'm not there for very long. An interview with a staff member in charge of surveillance showed a lack of compliance among staff members. No one was complying. How do I get staff to comply with infection control? The staff member said. My staff is very young and the battle is hard. It's retention versus compliance. The Montana Department of Health and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid have implemented a temporary manager at the facility, handling day-to-day operations, working to correct identified deficiencies. If the directed plan of correction outlined by the State Health Department is not followed, the facility will be at risk of losing services reimbursed by Medicare and Medicaid. Whitefish Care and Rehab administrators did not respond to our request for comment. In Whitefish, Sean Wells, MTN News.
All right, well, today is officially the first day of fall. I told Curtis that means for me, I can finally start ordering fall pumpkin coffee drinks.
Yeah, you said, what'd you call it, the SPL or
PSL.
PSL, see? Over my head right there, but you go ahead. Now you can have them because it is the first day of autumn. Happy fall there, everybody. Here's a look, not the very prettiest of days that we've ever seen, mostly cloudy skies, and yes, some haze and smoke, but mainly in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Not a lot of Montana looking at anything worse than moderate air quality. Most of the state still good air quality. Hey, a couple of sprinkles out there, not much as far as showers and wet weather, but we do have a few more showers in the forecast. Happy fall, everybody. Pineapple Express, yes, from the Pacific. Some moisture, and I'll let you know exactly what that means for the state coming up. And in a few days, you'll probably be saying, whoa, that wind. More of the forecast in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Curtis. Flathead County officials say there has been a huge increase in solid waste this summer. Flathead County Public Works Director Dave Prunty says the landfill saw several tons more waste this summer compared to the summer of 2019, specifically in June and July. He says on their busiest day, they handled over 700 tons of waste. He can't attribute the increase to one thing, but adds the amount of people in the Flathead Valley this summer was more than in years past. He thinks people were eager to come to Montana and be outdoors because of coronavirus concerns. But Prunty asks that people recycle as much as possible to keep the amount of waste in the landfill down.
Cardboard is the biggest thing that I still see going into the landfill, which is easily recyclable and does take up space in the landfill for sure, and is a good product that still has a commodity, still has a value in it to get it recycled.
The landfill in Kalispell is looking to expand with 13 properties purchased. Once the expansion is complete, it will be large enough to sustain waste for the next 100 years. Well, if you notice piles of dirt and other materials just off of Highway 87 north of Great Falls, you can expect them to be there for quite a while. The Montana Department of Transportation began a new project yesterday. The construction area stretches 7 miles on the highway. The project will add additional lanes to the roadway and increase highway capacity. It's funded by the Federal Highway Administration and the state. In total, it will cost about $16 million. There was quite a bit of action taking place in Helena near the Capitol today as multiple agencies captured and relocated a black bear. Earlier today, Helena Police, Montana Highway Patrol, and Fish, Wildlife and Parks captured a black bear that was found inside Helena city limits. According to FWP, the bear was originally spotted near Lockheed Park and began moving south on Lambourne Street, where the bear was then immobilized and collected for relocation. Now, FWP said all things considered, the situation was an easy one to handle, thanks in part to the teamwork all three agencies display.
Pretty much everybody had already established a perimeter, just keeping people from driving through, keeping people from walking through, and they had eyes on it. So when I showed up there with the equipment that we needed, they just pointed right out there. And at that time, it's just waiting until the bear presents a good shot for you to immobilize it with a dart.
Justin told us FWP relocated the bear to Granite Butte area near Stemple Pass and said they've had good results with relocated bears not returning to urban and suburban areas. All right, when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenance has a first day of our fall forecast for us. And coming up later, Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison takes a look at the big money being spent on the governor's race.
Hi, my name's Eric. I'm the news director at KTVH, and this is Madeline. We've been reading to Madeline every night since she was 6 months old. She's been choosing her own books since she was old enough to grab them and bring them to us. It's one of the ways we've passed down the importance of literacy and reading in our family. This year we also donated to the Scripps Howard Foundation Give a Child a Book campaign and would encourage you to do the same. To find out how a donation benefits kids and schools in your own community, log on to ktvh.com.
Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenance.
Welcome back, everybody. A little gray and dull out there for the first day of autumn, but those fall colors are beginning to pop here a little bit. Also a little haze outside. Helena right now, 71 degrees. A little north wind, 9 miles per hour. We may get a couple of sprinkles here in the next few hours. Great Falls, also mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures in the upper 60s right now. A little warmer out into eastern Montana. We're up into the 80s. Clearly a front kind of separating the warmth from some of the cooler air. Cup Bank and Kalispell down into the upper 50s out there right now. There's a little bit of some rain. A moisture-starved system is working through. The wildfires in the state, no activity on these fires, no new growth here, and it'd be nice if we got a little more rain on some of these fires. There you can see a few of these showers, and again, around the Helena area where you see some of these darker colors, there could be a couple of sprinkles out there. The atmosphere in the lower levels is pretty dry. Out here around Lewistown, Judith Gap, we had a couple of showers earlier, and off of the Rocky Mountain fronts up there around East Glacier, Browning, Cup Bank perhaps. Again, just a couple of sprinkles, a little more than a few sprinkles as Tropical Storm Beta continues to affect the coast of Texas. I mentioned a Pineapple Express. What is that? Well, pineapples sometimes come from the Pacific here, and when we see a Pineapple Express or a jet stream like this, that is what is called a Pineapple Express, and we're going to see some moisture moving into Montana over the next several days. More in the way of cloud cover than anything else. We're not going to see a boatload of precipitation, but some precipitation nonetheless. Now, we had a little smoke move in last night into this morning here. That smoke should be moving out as this little disturbance moves out, but still a little whiff of smoke here or there as we go through the next couple of days. But overall, nothing like what we were dealing with last week at this time. And the weekend also looks pretty good. However, that wind will be howling, and it really begins to howl on Thursday. So this minor little system going through tonight. Tomorrow, don't expect much in the way of sunshine unless you're out there in the eastern part of the state. Nice little Chinook arch cloud formation will form over the Continental Divide. Partly to mostly cloudy skies on Thursday with a lot of wind. Showers mainly west of the divide. How about Friday? Kind of gray, maybe a couple of showers east of the Continental Divide out there around Helena, but mainly again, it's west of the divide. Still some green on the map here into Saturday and into Sunday as well. So again, active, but most of the active weather will come in the form of wind as we go through Thursday all the way into Monday. Here's the forecast for tonight. Temperatures down into the 30s and 40s, close to average here for the first night of fall. And here is the forecast for tomorrow. This is a little more sunshine than I think will happen again. Likely seeing a Chinook arch cloud formation developing right off of the Continental Divide. And you know how that goes. You get that upper level cloud that kind of just builds and sits right off of the Rocky Mountain front. So more clouds than sunshine here, but temperature's not too bad. You get further out in northeast Montana, we should be looking at more sunshine. Lewistown, partly cloudy skies and partly to mostly cloudy skies here around the Helena area. Here's the 7-day forecast, thinking more clouds than sun for tomorrow. Thursday, a very blustery day. Just an isolated shower, mainly in the mountains. Couple of sprinkles around on Friday. This weekend, not a lot of sunshine and a lot of wind. We could have, again, a few showers, not a very heavy rain, but some moisture nonetheless, Sunday into Monday. And for the Electric City, dry the next few days, getting a little cooler Thursday into Friday. And look at that wind. It's going to be noticeable out there, and we could have maybe a little more moisture coming through later into Sunday, all the way into Monday morning.
Republican Greg Gianforte has outspent Democrat Mike Cooney by a 3-to-1 margin so far, thanks in part to $3.5 million that Gianforte has contributed from his own pocket. But the candidates aren't the only ones spending money on the pivotal race. As MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us, outside spending by various groups on the governor's contest will likely approach $20 million by Election Day.
Democrat Mike Cooney has spent about $2 million on his campaign so far, compared to $6.4 million for Republican Greg Gianforte. But Cooney is getting considerable assistance from outside groups. Chief among them is a group called Good Jobs MT, a political action committee financed primarily by the Democratic Governors Association. It had spent $4.3 million through the end of August, and has spent or booked another $3.5 million in TV ad time through October. Some of that money has assisted other groups helping Cooney, like the Montana 55 Plus Action Fund and the Montana Conservation Voters Action Fund, which has added another $560,000 of its own spending. And the labor union representing public school teachers and other public employees, the Montana Federation of Public Employees, has spent $2.23 million on ads going after Gianforte or otherwise aiding Cooney. All told, these outside groups are on tap to spend about $11 million on Cooney's behalf in the campaign. On the other side, there is RGA Right Direction PAC, which is financed by the Republican Governors Association. It says it has spent about $4.5 million on Gianforte's behalf, primarily on TV ads attacking Cooney, and has reserved another $3.75 million in TV time through October. That's $8.25 million of outside money helping Gianforte's campaign. So when you add it all together, including the candidate spending, Gianforte still has the edge, but not by much, sort of like the race itself, which is still considered the only closely competitive governor's race in the nation. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Most Montana voters will start getting their ballots in the mail in less than 3 weeks, starting on the weekend after October 9th. All right, coming up next on the news at 5, we dive deeper into the importance of early child literacy.
News leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back with us. You might have noticed us playing videos during our newscasts of different KTVH team members and their children discussing the importance of reading. These videos are all in support of a book campaign we're holding here at KTVH News in an effort to raise money to buy books for young students at Bryant Elementary in Helena. I sat down with a child literacy expert at the Lewis and Clark Library, and she has more on the large impact one small book can have on a child.
Any exposure is critical to your child's developing brain.
A little effort goes a long ways when it comes to encouraging early child literacy.
You know, just even taking a minute to sit with the baby or your toddler, however hard that might be, and read 5 words. Some days that's all you get, and that's perfectly okay.
Molly Hudson is the Youth Services Librarian at Lewis and Clark Library in Helena. She says early literacy begins with 6 key components.
Oral language, so that's why speaking to your child is so important. Phonological awareness, that's a huge word, but it basically just means I recognize that this is the sound it makes. Print awareness, being able to recognize this is a letter and this is what it represents, and this is how the words work together. So knowing that if I'm learning how to read and write English, the word goes from left to right.
And the last 2 key components are vocabulary and background knowledge, which are 2 components a young child can obtain by being exposed to books and reading. I asked Molly, in this day and age, with books being accessible on tablets, which is better, tablet or physical book?
It's super important in terms of print awareness and concept to know, oh, this is how I hold a physical book. The top is up here and the bottom's down here. And when I open it, I open it like this and I read. It's just orienting. And it is a different aspect when you're using an electronic.
Molly added it can be daunting for parents to feel they have to read to their child every day. But there are other ways to encourage early child literacy that parents are probably already incorporating without even knowing it.
Singing is actually really important because it slows down the words. So they'll hear the different sounds, which goes back to phonological awareness. So, and we talked about talking and just pointing out every single thing you're doing or seeing or what your child may be doing or seeing.
If you would like to support early child literacy right here in our community, head to our website, ktvh.com, and click on the Scripps Howard Foundation Give a Child a Book campaign. Every dollar that you donate stays right here in Helena to promote early child literacy. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
When we welcome our West Coast viewers, COVID numbers beginning to tick up in over a dozen states, prompting worries of a fall surge in cases. We'll tell you what the CDC is saying about Halloween. Also, the new guidelines that could bring some of your favorite TV shows back soon when we see you back here tonight.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
That's all for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night.